now here for part 2 of our Pistachio Yacht Club Community Sailing School video, and we are here with Tom Kartheiser, who's welcomed us and is going to tell us a little bit about the Community Sailing School. Thanks for having us, Tom.
Thanks for being here, Pat. The Community Sailing School was started in the fall of 2012 by 4 members of the Pistachio Yacht Club. They were Jim Heeman, Sally Lucky, Elkis, Kathleen Winkle, and myself. All 4 of us, as members of the Yacht Club, had a great experience with our kids or our grandkids coming here and learning how to sail. And the Yacht Club, Pistachio Yacht Club, had run the sailing school from 1960 through 2011 through volunteer efforts, and the volunteer director had moved out of the area, so it was time for us to take a step back and say, what's the future of the sailing school here? We wanted to take an approach where it was more open to the community, and we knew that we needed to raise money to buy a new fleet of sailboats and to pay for the insurance and some of the costs related to running a sailing school, and to make it sustainable. So we went to the board of the Pistachio Yacht Club in the fall of 2012, and we made a proposal to create a separate 501c3 nonprofit community sailing school. And we created a set of bylaws, and we incorporated, so that proposal was approved unanimously by the members of the Pistachio Yacht Club, because they really wanted to see sailing continue in future generations on the bay. So we created a 501c3 corporation with the state of Illinois. We're nonprofit, and we set about to build a team, and we've just, this past summer 2019, celebrated our 7th successful year of our community sailing school.
And I know that when we were here filming the sailing school, you have little ones. I think the youngest that we saw was 5. All the way up to teenage kids who are participating in your school. So it's really allowing kids of every age to be able to enjoy sailing.
Well, we think that sailing can impact anyone's life in the community, from a kindergarten child to a retiree. And in addition to the Kinder Sail program that you mentioned, and the summer Learn to Sail, which is principally grade school, junior high, and high school kids, we offer adult classes. And in 2019, we actually had such a large turnout of adults wanting to learn how to sail that we had to split the adult class in half. That was one of the highlights of 2019. Was, I think we're finally getting enough traction that adults are saying this isn't just for kids. Learning how to sail is a pretty significant challenge if you haven't spent time on the water, if you don't really have experience in a sailboat. And I think it's like learning a foreign language is the way I would describe it. It's a lot easier to learn as a child. And the older you get, the harder it really becomes to master that. And so we have kids in high school who have grown up as students here, learning how to sail on beautiful Pistachio Bay, becoming instructors, teaching 60 and 70-year-old people how to sail. And we've actually transformed some lives of retirees who've come back and become part of our volunteer group. And again, this is a community nonprofit organization, and we're funded through a lot of different efforts, which I would love to share with you some of the background on how we were pulling this off financially.
Because as we all know, getting monies is not easy, and getting monies for a charitable organization is very challenging.
Right, so we had to buy a fleet of sailboats and pay expensive insurance, and the sailing school actually pays rent to the yacht club, because we are a separate nonprofit organization. But we are in close partnership with the Pistachio Yacht Club, and we share a common goal that members of the community can experience this amazing historic venue. We've worked together, the Yacht Club and the Sailing School, to really update the building over the last 7 years. And it's been a concerted effort of a lot of passionate people. We have 2 fundraisers a year. In spring, we do a murder mystery event, which is really a blast. The first one was a 1920s theme with a gangster. Yes. And last year was a pirate theme. And we fill the building up, and our kids run the murder mystery.
And they do a great job. I will tell you, I personally guessed the wrong person was the murderer, unfortunately.
Well, we actually buy the script from a professional murder mystery company, and then we pull it off, and people come in dressed like gangsters or pirates, so it's a fun dress-up night. The second fundraiser we do is, we just had our 7th one this year. This is our landmark fundraiser. It is the Great Gatsby Gala for the benefit of the Community Sailing School. We've just celebrated our 7th year. This is a formal event. I've lived on the bay for close to 3 decades, and I would say to any member of the community listening to this that if you want to experience the chain of lakes in an amazing formal event that will just open up your appreciation for Pisteki Bay and the chain of lakes. Join us at our our Gatsby Gala for the benefit of the Community Sailing School. Each year, through the volunteer leadership efforts of Julie Salvucci and her amazing team, we raise over $10,000 to help the sailing school. The sailing school is not making money. All of those dollars that we raise through fundraising go to pay the insurance, the rent, the instructors, and keep the fleet of boats current. And we also try to introduce new things. For example, a few years ago, through our fundraising efforts, we added stand-up paddleboarding and windsurfing, my personal favorite, to our repertoire of what we're offering to the community to really help people appreciate what it's like and really encourage people to get out on the water. One of the key goals that we had when we first started the sailing school was we wanted to get kids off of the internet and on the bay. We wanted to challenge people to really stretch themselves and do something that they had never thought of doing before. We're standing in front of a
I'll do my best.
training board that was made by one of our volunteer retirees who learned how to sail as a retiree in the community sailing school. And John Katzenmeyer is now a rather accomplished sailor. He's actually a captain and can sail boats on the ocean. He started here at our sailing school, and he said, we got to really teach kids how to tie knots and adults how to tie knots. And he created this, so the kids come in and they have to do this. We have children that can come in here haven't tied a knot in their life, and by the end of the summer they can tie all of these knots in like 7 seconds, which it blows my mind that they do this.
And I can tell you there's great value to knots because I have sailed in the past, but I'm also a power boater, and when our jet ski slipped away off in this high water, I used some half hitches to be able to secure it to the pier and make sure that I knew it was going to stay there. And it's that kind of knot that really comes in handy in lots of aspects of your life. And Tom actually has a saying about knots, which I think is very appropriate.
Yeah, my favorite quote about learning knots is it's better to know a knot and not need it than to not know a knot and need it. And in my own life, when I'm tying something down on the back of a car or trying to secure something somewhere, I will usually look to my daughter or my son who came up through the sailing school, and they're like, Dad, why don't you tie a bowline there? And I'm like, oh yeah, the bowline.
Yeah, I remember
I should
that
be able
one.
to do that
Yeah.
one. That's the hardest knot for me to master. But these are life skills that we're teaching.
No question.
And so we try to really incorporate a lot of different things, being aware of the climate, the changes that we experience here suddenly on the bay from a safety point of view.
Well, is
Last year we
part of
did,
that
yeah, go
in
ahead,
your
Pat.
STEM program?
Okay, we have a whole program. I'm glad you mentioned that. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, and Math. And from the very beginning of this community sailing school, we partnered with United States Sailing Association, which is a pseudo-government funded organization at the top of the country that really establishes the governance around sailing. So it's U.S. Congress funded, and they have some really dynamic learning programs. And STEM is a program that Congress has identified where the United States future generation needs to become stronger in science, technology, engineering, and math. So our partnership with U.S. Sailing was to bring in their certified instructor for STEM, and it's STEM learning empowered with sailing. So it's sailing teaching STEM, if you will. So we did train the trainer, and 8 of us, including all the board members, myself and others, became certified STEM sailing instructors. Each summer, if we have a rainy day and we can't have the kids out in the water, we're in our classroom here teaching concepts of sailing. So we bring in geometry, physics, meteorology, biology, all types of science activities.
Which is all the things that when kids are in school, they wonder why I'm learning this. And here you can make it practical and apply it to a real world example, which I think for kids makes it stick better, frankly.
I think it does. Experiential learning is one of the more powerful ways to learn. We like to say at the Community Sailing School that we have a floating classroom on Pisteki Bay. And it really comes to life when the kids start doing these activities. We combine all of this, especially with the STEM program, and we have a day every spring where we reach out to the middle schools of the community, and we ask the counselors and the principals and the instructor teams, who are some students who you think really would benefit from an experience of learning STEM. And those are students whose parents may not be in a financial situation or position to be able to bring them to our sailing school. So where are the kids that could get left behind if we don't reach out to them and bring them into our community sailing school? We have a day on the water called Courtney's Sailing Corner. And Courtney Kingsley was one of our first instructors here. She earned her Girl Scout Gold Badge by creating this program. So we bring children in that we've identified as at risk or needing this experience, and we take them out on the water for a day. And what we're really doing is assessing whether those kids would get a boost in their life, not just their educational journey, but their life, by becoming a member of the community sailing school. Each year at the Gatsby Gala, we do a special fundraiser to generate and gain donations for scholarships for those kids. And each year we bring children in from the community who would never have this experience, and we teach them how to sail, and we teach them how to tie knots, and we teach them how to get along with other kids in a teamwork setting. And most importantly, we put them out on Pisteki Bay when it's 15 miles per hour wind.
See how they do.
And they actually thrive. We've also brought in kids that are on the spectrum, and some of those kids have been here for all 7 years, and their principals and their parents have come back and provided at our Gatsby Gala testimonials that the single thing that changed this young man's life or this young woman's life was their experience at the community sailing school. And this is how we make an impact, and this is how we pay it forward to the community.
You know, you can feel Tom's passion and his desire to keep this community sailing school going, growing, and helping to serve others. And I think that's really a fantastic testament to him and the school. And we're proud to be here today. And if you have a request for any additional information, who do you reach out to?
Well, we have a website, community, COMM, sailpisteki.org, and we have a Facebook page, Community Sailing School at Pisteki, or reach out directly to myself, and we would love to bring you into our community. I'd say every 5 years we got to find the next generation of volunteers and families that we get involved in it, so we're on kind of group 2 right now, and we're thriving, but in a couple more years we're going to be looking for some new board members and some new students that want to come in and learn how to be an instructor. Several of our instructors, I mentioned Courtney Kingsley, she is now a director of a yacht club on the East Coast, and her younger sister, Katie Kingsley, who grew up sailing at the sailing school at Pisteki Yacht Club and Community Sailing School, was an instructor here, then went to Lake Geneva Sailing School, spent the last summer at the Columbia Sailing School, and is now off on the East Coast pursuing her passion for engineering and sailing while she's also teaching kids on the East Coast. So actually this little small community sailing school at Pisteki is now a seed organization for powering up the future of the sport of sailing and impacting kids' lives in the community. We really welcome you to come here and be a part of it. We'd love to see you on the water and teach you how to tie a knot or tack a sailboat. Pat, thank you for all your help.
Thank you. Thanks for having us today.
Market our program.
Yes, and hope to see many of you here in the future. Thanks so much.